Welcome to AI Agents News, the show that keeps you updated on the rapidly evolving world of artificial intelligence. I'm your host, Alex.
And I'm Jordan. It's great to be back with you, Alex. We've got a packed show today, covering everything from Google's legal battles in Europe to new tools that are making it easier than ever for developers to build their own AI agents.
That's right, and we'll also look at how the real world is pushing back, with some fascinating insights from the owner of Legoland on the value of tangible experiences. But let's start with our top story, which involves one of the biggest names in tech.
And a very big problem. It looks like Google's AI overviews are already facing serious regulatory heat in Europe.
Exactly. According to a report from TechCrunch, a group called the Independent Publishers Alliance has filed an antitrust complaint with the European Commission. It's a direct challenge to how Google is using AI in its search results.
And their argument seems pretty straightforward. The complaint accuses Google of, and I'm quoting here, misappropriating content from publishers. They're saying Google is scraping their articles to train its AI, and then using that AI to generate answers that compete directly with the original publishers.
It really gets to the heart of a conflict we've been seeing for a while. Publishers feel that Google is taking their valuable, human-created content without fair compensation, and then using it to keep users on Google's own pages, effectively cutting them out of the loop.
That's interesting, Alex. So it's not just about losing traffic, it's about the fundamental value of their work being used to power a competitor. What do you think the chances are that this complaint actually goes somewhere?
Well, if there's one regulatory body that isn't afraid to take on big tech, it's the European Commission. They have a long history of antitrust investigations into companies like Google. This complaint could easily become the basis for a much larger, formal investigation. It's a huge story to watch.
Absolutely. It could reshape the economics of online content. Now, moving from the courtroom to the developer's workshop, there's some exciting news for people who are actually building AI agents.
There is, and it's all about making powerful tools more accessible. The first piece of news comes from InfoQ, highlighting that LM Studio has released a new version with a very important feature: support for the Model Context Protocol, or MCP.
For our listeners who aren't deep in the weeds, what exactly is MCP and why does it matter?
Great question. Think of MCP as a universal translator for language models. It creates a standard way for a model running on your computer to securely access external tools, like a web browser, a calculator, or a database. Before, connecting these tools could be a messy, custom job for each model.
So this makes building sophisticated, multi-talented agents much simpler. That's a big step forward for local, private AI development.
Exactly. And speaking of building agents, this pairs perfectly with a fantastic new tutorial from Venelin Valkov. He's published a complete guide on how to build an AI agent from scratch and deploy it into production using tools like LangChain, Ollama, and Docker.
I saw that one. What I found really cool about it was the focus on observability using MLflow. It's not just about building the agent, but about being able to peek inside its brain to see what it's doing and why it's making certain decisions.
That's right, it demystifies the whole process. Between standardized protocols like MCP and clear tutorials like this, the barrier to entry for creating powerful, custom AI agents is dropping fast. It's a great time to be a builder in this space.
So, Alex, we've talked about AI in the legal world and the developer world. But all this digital progress raises a question: what happens to the real world?
That's the perfect transition for our final story today on AI Agents News. An article in The Guardian featured an interview with Fiona Eastwood, an executive at the company that owns Legoland. Her take on the digital era is fascinating. She says that real-life experiences are more vital than ever, and she describes theme parks as, quote, an antidote.
An antidote, I love that phrasing. She's suggesting that as our lives become more saturated with technology and AI, the value of real, tangible, human to human interaction actually increases.
Precisely. The article points out that while AI is upending business models everywhere, there's a powerful and growing demand for experiences that bring people together physically. Things you can touch, see, and share in the same room, not just on a screen.
It's a great reminder that technology doesn't exist in a vacuum. It creates countertrends. The more we immerse ourselves in digital worlds, the more we might crave the grounding force of a real-world adventure.
Well said, and that brings us to the end of our show. We've seen a major battle brewing over AI and content in Europe. We've looked at new tools making agent development more accessible, and we've considered how real-world experiences are finding new value in the age of AI.
It really shows how AI is touching every part of our society, from technology and law right down to how we choose to spend our free time.
It certainly does. A huge thank you to all of our listeners for tuning in. I'm Alex.
And I'm Jordan. We'll talk to you next time on AI Agents News.